Your deduction just now. Oh, oops. Your deduction. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. The now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Okay, da bin ich jetzt mal gespannt, wie er darauf kommt. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Via Shanghai. Brett, die Giselle Brett, die Täterin im Letztunfall, ist doch nach Shanghai, um da vor dem Gericht zu sein, oder nicht? Das hängt bestimmt irgendwie zusammen. Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night, the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, violent Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please, wie kommst du auf sowas, Sherlock? And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about his revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Als ob die damals schon war-torn war. Das ist echt so, war echt schon so lange immer ein Kriegsgebiet, krass. Also ich will jetzt hier gar nicht politisch werden, ne, aber okay. Und subversive ist staatsfeindlich. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Als ob du das, okay. Ja, okay, wenn man in Japan lebt, des 20. Jahrhunderts, glaube ich, dann weiß man das nicht. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all of that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. Okay, er gibt uns das nur, weil er keine Mülltonne findet. Dankeschön. An article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads: "The revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back, cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you. Though you may not need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Okay, dann gucken wir uns mal den Artikel an. Okay, hier ist der Bolshevik. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, "Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Okay. Oh my goodness. He is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's a problem, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, was auf der Rückseite? Okay. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean it like, look, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this show, Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich ballet disappears from Shanghai. Auch von Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is of course the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? Ich finde japanische Namen nicht viel besser, Ryonosuke. It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds himself. The tiara is the property of the Novovich ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. The article about the ballerina has been entered into the court record. An article on the back page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, "Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich ballet disappears from Shanghai." Okay. What you were just investigating. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? In komische Spider-Man-Pose. Kazuma. Ah yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. Was ist elucidate? Überlegen einfach? Elucidate. Erläutern, okay. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Warte, was? It could upset people. Tragic. Okay. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Yeah. Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Oh man. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Nado nado, I trust you're suitably impressed. Ha! But this diary is littered with complicated looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. Wow! So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 AM. I can hear a faint whistling sound. Whistling sound, okay? A whistling sound. These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 AM. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I have never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring... Warte mal, grill? Wie heißt das? Wie wird das ausgesprochen? Gitter ist das.
Grill.
Grill, okay. Alles klar. The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record, a diary Kazuma was keeping of his trip to London. According to the last entry he made before his death, he spied what appeared to be a speckled band. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you are thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds revel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. Stimmt, da war ja was. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided it was the culprit in the first place. I was the culprit. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as a culprit at any point. Bitte? You must be joking! You just said it, only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did you hear say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way. Ah, yeah! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin, while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea! The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, is das Hosonaga? Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. Das ist doch Hosonaga. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes? What can I do for you? Yeah, Hosonaga! I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. Eyes up. Okay. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Okay, dann reden wir mal mit ihm. Special Orders. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Wahrscheinlich wieder was mit Shanghai, oder? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Eyes up! It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? Okay, dann war Kazumas Bodyguard. Schlechter Bodyguard scheinbar. I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Azuki-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help you, just say the word. Okay. Vielleicht kannst du uns eine Erlaubnis zum Untersuchen geben. Das wäre doch mal was. Aber es ist doch... Ich find's richtig interesting, dass die Fälle hier so eine... bisher eine internationale Tragweite auch haben. Ich glaube, das ist nicht bei jedem Fall wird das der Fall sein, aber so die ersten beiden hatten beide so eine international-politische Komponente. Finde ich sehr interessant, sind wir gar nicht so gewohnt von Ace Attorney. Permission to investigate. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You are not the killer. Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door. That stormy looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now, they think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Was denn? Hier, das hier? What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we are still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me, the ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. Warum blutet er aus dem Mund? Das werden wir bestimmt noch irgendwie erfahren. Ich hoffe es. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Move. First class passageway. The passageway that connects the first class cabins on the SS Burya. A cabin on this SS Burya and the scene of the crime. Kazuma was occupying this cabin for the voyage to Britain, along with with me as a stowaway. Ah, okay. Dann gehen wir jetzt in den First Class Passageway.